She looked at me and said, "Honey, I'm so sorry. I thought you knew." I didn't know. I had no idea. I had been married to that man for 14 years. And I didn't know a single thing about the woman standing in my doorway, or the two kids behind her who had his eyes. By the end of this story, you'll understand why I didn't cry when I finally heard the truth. Not because I wasn't hurt, but because the hurt had already happened, years before I had a name for it. But let me take you back to where this all began. His name was Daniel. Danny, to everyone who loved him. We met in 2007 at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. He was the guy who refilled everyone's water glass without being asked. That's what I noticed first. Not his face, not his voice. Just that quiet, careful kindness. We dated for 2 years. Got married in October 2009. Small ceremony, backyard. His mother made the cake. I wore my grandmother's earrings. For a long time, it was a good life, not a flashy life. We weren't the couple who posted every vacation. Danny worked in logistics, regional manager for a distribution company based in Columbus. He traveled a lot, 3, sometimes 4 days a week. I worked as a dental hygienist. I liked my job. I liked coming home. We had a routine. Tuesday nights we ordered Thai food. Saturday mornings he made coffee and I read. We talked about having kids. Not urgently, just the way you talk about something you assume is coming. I trusted him the way you trust a door you've opened 1,000 times. There were small things, looking back. He kept his phone face down on the table. Always. He had a separate email for work stuff. He sometimes came home from a trip quieter than he left. I thought it was exhaustion. I wasn't suspicious. I was just not paying close enough attention. But that was the last time I felt certain about anything. It started with a number I didn't recognize. November 2021. I was using Danny's laptop to print a boarding pass. My phone had died and we were leaving early the next morning. I wasn't snooping. I just needed the printer. A browser tab was open. Gmail. His work account. The one I never used. I wasn't going to read it. I wasn't. But the subject line was right there on the screen. Caleb's soccer photos. Can you believe how tall he's getting? I stopped. Danny didn't have a nephew named Caleb. He didn't have a brother. His sister lived in Portland and her kids were both girls. I knew that. I'd met them at Christmas. I clicked on the email. Just to see. It was from an address I didn't recognize. A woman named Renee. The email was casual. The kind of casual that means something. She mentioned a school pickup schedule. She mentioned last weekend. She mentioned that Caleb asked when Daddy was coming back. Daddy. I closed the laptop. I stood in the kitchen for a long time. The printer had already finished. The boarding pass was sitting in the tray. I told myself there was an explanation. A cousin I didn't know about. Some work colleague's kid he'd grown close to. I told myself that. I almost believed it. I didn't say anything that night, or on the trip. I watched him sing happy birthday to his mother and eat 2 slices of cake and laugh with people who loved him. And I kept thinking, there's an explanation. But that wasn't even the worst part. I hired someone in January. I know how that sounds. I'd never been the kind of person who did things like that. But I couldn't ask Danny directly. Not yet. Not without knowing what I was actually asking. So I found a PI through a friend of a friend. A woman named Carol who worked out of a small office in Westerville. She had short gray hair and she didn't ask me why. She just said, "Give me 3 weeks." She gave me results in 11 days. Carol called me on a Tuesday afternoon. I was in my car in the parking lot of the grocery store. She said, "I need you to be somewhere you can sit down for a while." I said, "I'm already sitting." She said, "Okay." Then she told me. Daniel had been living a second life for 9 years. Her name was Renee Calloway. They'd met in 2013, 2 years after Danny and I got married. She lived in a suburb of Indianapolis, 40 minutes from his distribution hub. They had 2 kids, Caleb, who was 8, and a daughter named Maya, who had just turned 6 years old. I did the math while Carol was still talking. I'd had a miscarriage in 2016. Danny had held my hand in the hospital. He cried, real tears. And then 3 months later, he'd gone back to Indianapolis, to a woman who was pregnant with his daughter. Carol said, "Are you still there?" I said, "How long have you known?" She said, "Since day 4. I wanted to be sure. She had photos, receipts, a lease agreement with both their names on it, a joint bank account with a balance of $31,400. I sat in that parking lot for 2 hours. The groceries never got bought. My friend Lisa came over that evening. When she got there, I showed her everything Carol had sent. She read it all without saying a word. Then she looked up and said, "He built a whole life without you. And he made you fund it." She had one more thing to tell me. I wasn't ready. I confronted Danny on a Friday night. I'd waited 3 weeks. Not because I was scared, because I wanted to know exactly what I was saying before I said it. He came home at 6:40, set his bag down, asked what was for dinner. I put Carol's folder on the kitchen table. He looked at it. Then he looked at me. He didn't say anything for a long time. I said, "I know about Renee. I know about Caleb and Maya. I know about the account with $31,400. I know about the lease." He sat down. He put his head in his hands. He said, "This isn't what it looks like." I told him, "Don't. Please don't say that." He was quiet again. Then he said, "I was going to tell you." I said, "When?" He didn't answer. I said, "Caleb is 8. Maya is 6. When were you going to tell me?" He started crying. Real tears again. The same tears from the hospital in 2016. I watched them and felt nothing. He said, "I love you. I've always loved you." I told him, "That doesn't mean anything to me right now." I asked him one question I actually needed the answer to. I said, "Does she know about me?" He looked at the table. I said, "Danny, does Renee know you have a wife?" He said, "She knows I was married before." I picked up my keys. I went to my sister's house. I didn't come back. The divorce took 11 months. During that time, I found out a few more things. The woman who showed up at my door, that was Renee. She'd found my address in some paperwork. When she said, "I thought you knew," she meant it. Danny had told her we'd been separated for years. That I knew about her. That we were just waiting on the paperwork. She hadn't known either. We spoke twice on the phone. It was the strangest conversations of my life. 2 women trying to figure out what was real inside the same lie. She said, "He told me he didn't love you anymore." I said, "He told me everything was fine." Neither of us knew which version was worse. The thing about Danny, the thing I keep coming back to, isn't the betrayal itself. It's the performance of it. The Tuesday Thai food, the Saturday morning coffee, the tears in the hospital. He wasn't just hiding a secret. He was actively building a life with me at the same time. With the same hands, the same voice, the same face I trusted. That's what they never said. Not just Danny. The version of him I loved. That man never existed. And the saddest part isn't what he did. It's that for 14 years, I looked right at him and never once wondered who he was when I wasn't watching. Some people don't leave. They just build walls high enough that you stop being able to see them. And by the time you find the door, they're already gone.